You are right up my street.
Oh, you can't make me choose.
Igo by Toyota sponsors T4.
Fuck me, Lee Ryan's 13.
I remember we couldn't remember the word for table.
Last week, it was all tops and no bottoms, like my sex life. Fraser wrote that. The two top queens of the week were UWA, still can't say that name, and Kyron Thrax.
You got that one.
And who had to lip sync for the win. After trotting around to a lackluster Goldfrapp song, Kyron was declared the winner.
This is your Welcome America Presents Drag Race UK Season 6, Episode 2, Stitch and Strut. What?
This week was the design challenge, but this time the twist was that the queens would be working in groups of 3.
After a fall in the hotel shower, Saki Yu hobbled out of the competition, which meant yet another non-elimination. So the top 3 queens of the week, Lil, Chanel, and Marmalade, all had to lip sync for the win. Lil came out on top and won, which I'm sure we won't hear about at all next week. We're definitely not teeing that one up.
I am Ben.
I am Fraser.
Fraser Light Razor.
And this is Drag Race Season Bloody 6.
Straight away, love the graphic that comes up on screen after the non-elimination.
Yep.
Great. So the queens trot back into the workroom, plonk themselves down on those probable IKEA sofas.
Yeah.
Someone at some point here goes, "Yeah, baby."
Yeah, that was Kyron. She said, "Yeah, baby," like Austin Powers. I don't know.
So strange.
My first note is, I'm already so excited for how much Ben dislikes Kyron.
I'm right in there.
I kind of was like, oh, okay, here we go. Is the voice herself wearing a dog tag in her interview, in her boy look? She's wearing a tiny little dog tag.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, we get real background about Lavoie later, don't we?
We sure do.
Is it
Madame
Madame
Jojo's?
That doesn't exist anymore, does it?
It certainly doesn't exist anymore.
Au revoir, Madame Jojo.
I found this whole kind of sequence very uninteresting, apart from I just found my eye was drawn to release it in that Rihanna loud era wig yet again. Looking she kind of looked like Rihanna if she had been in Pirates of the Caribbean. A Rihanna pirate wench was kind of her look.
Did I tell you I watched on a very long haul flight the last couple of years, I watched the Rihanna Loud concert.
Oh.
It was really bad.
Okay.
It was appalling.
Well, she's hit and miss with those performances, isn't she?
Very strange. So Chanel says some of the girls are serving looks, others are serving minced dinner. I had to say that.
Chanel's really coming into her own in this episode, isn't she? I will have to admit that I did notice and enjoy Lavoie's sparkly pirate boot that I noticed was all completely like glittered and rhinestoned. Oh. I saw that tinkling behind someone.
Tinkling.
She was sitting behind them, and I was like, oh, I didn't notice that on the runway. And there's quite a good joke where Lady Marmalade tries to get up and do another poem, and she kind of just does like a silly one. Yeah. But I like their reaction. They're all like, oh God, no.
Like, we're done, someone won, now it's time to fuck off. Something like that.
Yeah. And I just noted to myself that I think the Creole Lady Marmalade looks like a fun non-binary librarian in her interview look. I'm drinking in this recap, by the way. If you hear any noises, it's the ice in my rosé tinkling away.
Which kind of sounds like we're at like Porto Banús and we're having dinner by the water and something's just clinking off the yachts.
Yeah.
At this point, they're talking, Lil and someone else is talking to it was Lil's doll, isn't it? And,
Daddy.
Yeah. And I can't remember what she asks the doll, but she says she didn't like them. Baby didn't like them. She really enjoyed.
Now, Lil, you want to talk about people coming into their own this episode. She doesn't, but I enjoyed her more and more. She stays herself at the same.
Exactly.
She stays at the same flat line, and I'm enjoying it more and more with every second.
Did you notice that in the opening music, they've inserted so it's like RuPaul's Drag Race, but there's like a na 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 na.
Yeah, there's a couple of
like a remix,
a few little twists here and there.
Yeah. Speaking of twists, I do have a prop for this episode. I'm trying to work out the best time. I think when we're getting ready for the main stage, that's when I'll bring the prop out. Okay.
Okay.
Where are we going? What are we doing?
It's gonna be the next day.
The next day, we're in the workroom.
Looks aplenty is what I wrote. Just about everyone trotting in.
Someone says it's a brand new work in the week room.
Yes.
Is that a joke?
Yes.
Okay. Why did people say that as a joke?
No, but it's just they just took the words,
okay.
the words that everyone says on Drag Race and mixed them up. You know who said that and why you're pulling such a...
Oh, is it Thingy?
Yeah, why you've got such a Cyril sneer on your face right now. It's because your friend Kyron said it.
Now, I do go on quite a journey in this episode. I start off hating every second of it. I mean, right here, I've written...
Of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I end up really thinking it's a fantastic episode and I really enjoy it. But right here, I've written, why did the New Day entrances to the workroom really annoy me?
Well, you know, I'm there with you. I sent you some quite angry texts when I was making my notes for this episode, but that might also be because I've spent about 7 hours editing a podcast episode today. So
Yeah.
I was just in a foul mood.
I'm going to say at this point, my notes are pretty weak and I've written in all caps, really angry. I have no clue who anyone is. I can't make notes.
Oh, you see, my anger translated in me just writing things just that weren't what was going on. I wrote, "What's wrong with being confident?" about Kyron because she's very overconfident.
Yes.
And this is my favorite note. Who the hell is that man in the leather pillbox hat? Oh, that's Dieter von No Thanks.
Dieter von No.
And then my final note is just, I like Marmalade's pink shacket. So, as you can see, I was paying close attention to what they were talking about before the Rue mail announcement.
Well, I was struggling a lot. At this point, Rue comes on the screen and does some sort of message.
I wrote it down.
Oh, did you? Okay, great.
And are you impressed with me that I managed to do this without pausing it? Ooh, child, I love me some junk in the trunk. But
Okay,
if you
pause there. As soon as she said junk in the trunk, everyone went, oh. And I was like, what?
I thought it was going to be like a big ass challenge.
I don't know. Sorry, continue.
Ooh, child, I love me some junk in the trunk, but if you want to be the UK's next Drag Race superstar, you better get my house in order, girly.
Okay. So then they all start wondering what it is. Now I'm going to pitch something to you. House in order, whatever. House. Imagine a changing rooms challenge.
Well, they do have those challenges on Drag Race where they have to make up those, like, you know, they like make a bar or make a thing. I think that would be a good,
But imagine
like
a
specifically
changing rooms twist in it, and Carol and
Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen,
yeah, and what's her name? Anthea? No, and
Anna Ryder Richardson.
No, the one who sort of talked like this, and she was always a bit like.
Why can I only think of the name?
I've been to her house. I've worked with her.
Ellen Barkin is the only person I can think
Linda
of.
Barker.
Linda Barkin.
Oh,
That's why I was
Linda
thinking
Barker.
Ellen Barkin.
How great would that be? And
That
then
would
they
be-
could do all the jokes about Handy Andy.
And those, you know, they'd always be wearing matching, really big old like shirts.
Yeah.
They could wear them as like dresses. Yeah. Well,
So-
speak to the producers. That'll be good for next season.
Yeah.
Series.
Okay, Rue pops in.
She's in tartan with a lovely brooch.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh, she's got a lovely brooch on her. Really big. Like,
Can never get over the spelling of brooch. Brooch. So Rue reveals what the challenge actually is.
well, no, they put themselves in teams first.
Oh no, you're right. Right.
and I was wondering if you would you were waiting until she recapped who was in what team, right, before you wrote down who was who.
I've
got it.
I have not written for it. Like, yeah, I really struggle with this. But all to say, it is fun because she's like, okay, 4 teams of 3, doesn't say what the challenge is, and they're all
Yeah.
like, oh, she's like, do it now.
Yeah, and then so they put themselves into 4 teams of 3, and team 1 is Kiki, Charity, and Lavoie. Team 2 is Zahira, Octavia, and Kyron. Team 3 is Dita, Saki, and Relisa. And Team 4 is Lil, Chanel, and Creole Lady Marmalade. Yes, sir.
Or as she's referred to right at the end of the episode,
Mom.
Or Marm.
Mom.
That's right. Marm.
Mom, like chicken palm.
Yeah. So they need to create fashion houses, and within their fashion houses, they have to create 3 looks: Lady Boss, Cocktail Party, and Red Carpet.
And then my notes say Zahira has 2 non-sewers, is what I wrote.
Non-sewers.
I think I tried to write sewers, the plural of sewers, and it's just the word sewers. Now, I got a little confused at what was happening here. So I knew that they were going to be doing, obviously, like an unconventional materials thing. So when the boxes came in, I thought that Rue was saying...
One box came in.
Yeah, one box came in, and Rue was saying, like, oh, it's going to be different rooms of my house. So I thought, oh, okay, it'll be that thing of, like, there's a box for each room, and they'll, like, randomly assign it. But then it turns into... another thing, which is like that glory hole joke that Rue likes to make, where you have
Yeah.
to reach your hand into a box.
To pick something out that symbolizes the room in Rue's house. It was very confusing.
Especially because the first item that gets picked out is a pair of fluffy handcuffs. So I was like, oh, bedroom.
Totally.
And then he goes, oh, they're Michelle's. And I was like, oh, so I transitioned then and thought, oh, so each room is a different person on like the judging panel. And he was like, no, but I keep Michelle in my basement, so that's the basement. And at that point, I was like, so it's Michelle's basement?
And also it's like, what's stereotypical basement? Like what,
Right.
what's like the theme of a basement? I was very confused.
Yeah, they just wanted a Michelle theme. I don't know why they didn't make it like, I don't know. Anyway,
Like Michelle's granny flat.
boudoir, or
Yeah.
her the extension,
Michelle's annex.
Michelle's conservatory. Then what's the next one?
Oh, what is the next one? Tell me, remind me.
Fluffy dice.
Oh yeah, this is for the game room.
The game room.
Love that. The game room. No joke. There's no like joke. Oh, because of like Graham Norton. So
Yeah.
no, it's just the game room.
And
then-
disco ball to symbolize the disco room.
Yeah, which I think watching you're like, oh, that's the one you want probably. And then the spa and wellness room. Why wasn't it just the bathroom?
Don't know, but it did set Lil up for a good joke where she went, "How posh is your house?"
Yeah, that was nice.
Lil, funny.
So
all
then,
caps.
so then we go into another part of the studio where there's like these giant beige sheets covering lots of crap.
Now, I understand that they were revealing something exciting, but it looked like old.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like,
They looked like prop sheets from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
yeah, they did.
Like they'd been purposely stained with tea bags.
Real tarpaulin vibe. Very strange. So yeah, they each reveal their kind of piles of crap. I just like that there was a random moment you just heard Chanel go, feathers. Just like off camera, you heard her saying it.
So I've written, the spa stuff is okay. Oof, the games room is awful.
Yeah.
The basement's fun. Disco is fun.
Yeah.
And then I've written here, I'm really stressed out and I'm pre-exhausted.
Yeah, it's tough because they first reveal the kind of unconventional materials, but then they kind of then switch to suddenly, I think inside some kind of box is loads of fabric that matches the room. So it's like,
Yeah.
what is this unconventional materials, or is this just, what is this?
This could have done with just like another draft, shall we say?
Yeah, or just a little snip of a couple of concepts off the edge.
Exactly. Too many hats and hats and hats.
So the Michelle basement group points out that they have very different styles, which is true. That's Lavoie, Kiki, and Chara. That's quite like they're not a three that you would put together in any kind of challenge.
Yeah, they become the House of Cellar McCartney because they're a cellar now, so it's not a basement. So
Jesus
confused.
Christ.
A cellar and a basement, very different to me.
So Chanel is very much taking charge of her group, and again, she's really coming to her own this episode. Is that a good thing? I'm not entirely sure.
And Lil says, like, Chanel's taking a leadership role. Well, if it makes you happy, then I guess that's fine.
Now I have a big question is, how does Chanel get her hair to look like that in the interview? Such a specific shape. She almost has that, like, that kind of shape that they used to have on, in the Peanuts cartoons.
Yeah.
That kind of, like, almost like a football-shaped... That her hair is very specifically shaped on the sides. I don't know what combination of, like, blow-drying and mousse that she's using to
Teasing.
achieve that, but it's quite something.
You posted something earlier about this, though, didn't you, on our
Yeah,
Instagram?
she looks like a character from the Mario universe. I think it's like one of the Bowsers. Poor Kiki here is forced against her will to basically go like, "How's everyone feeling about their groups?" It's really awkward, and then they just kind of have this good like backwards and forwards where Lavoie is kind of boasting, saying, "Oh, well, I have all these outfits made, so, while I'm doing, I go to this person and that person." And one of them says, well, there's an analogy that happens, and then Marmalade, Creole Lady Marmalade, says an even better analogy where she says, well, I go to Greg's, but I don't know how to make a sausage roll. Mm-hmm. But Lavoie always gets that last word, and she's like, I don't believe you've ever eaten a sausage roll, you skinny little thing. And then they're all like,
Yeah.
And then one final note before Rue walks in, there's this really good cutaway. I think it's of Relisa, and it's her putting a record on her head, and you just hear her go, yeah. Like she's looking in the mirror, she goes, yeah.
Well, she wears that record on her head to go when Ru pops
Yes.
in.
You see her go, yeah.
They trot over and she's wearing that record.
Call it.
Okay, so first up, it's the games room, right?
Yes, Team House of Cards, which I thought was a weird choice considering that show and Kevin Spacey, but there you go. Obviously, I know it's playing cards, but
Oh, I didn't connect that at all.
what?
No.
Oh, I would have gone with like a poker pun.
I think they're probably too young to even know anything about House of Cards.
That's really weird. isn't
Because
it,
the
to
show,
think about?
did end 10 years ago, maybe?
Whoa, that's really crazy.
So in this group, it's Zahira, Kyrene, and Octavia.
Kyrene.
Kyrene. In this group, it's Zahira, Kyron, and Octavia. Do you know what? Just choose bloody normal names.
Pam, Sue, Jill.
Jill. Kyron is immune from
Yes.
last week's win.
And Rue gets in a really good
this is
jab here where she says, oh, look at those brows. And Octavia's like, oh, thank you. I can give you the number. She's like, oh, thank you. She goes, I wasn't complimenting them. Really good. And did you note at this point that, much like you, Rue's given up on trying to say everyone's names, and she calls Zahira Z. She goes, hey, Z, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, Rue, you little sneaker.
Oh, God. Must be so stressful being an older gal like Rue and having to go to fucking drag con. Okay.
So yeah, next up is the House of Stella McCartney that they announced to Rue, and
Which is the basement, right?
Yes, which they Rue's like, okay, yeah, I get it.
This is Kiki, Lavoie, and Charity.
Yes,
Great.
and Rue accuses Chara of drawing a penis on her on her outfit sketch. And then Lavoie kind of gets a good line in saying it's just a droopy gusset.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, good name for a drag queen. That made me laugh. And then Kiki's drawing was funny. Kiki's drawing
God.
was just a heart.
It was just a heart.
With a neck coming out of it.
And
Which
that was it.
actually, she did kind of end up doing.
Which is surprising because she changes her outfit about 5 times.
And I think just in general, Rue's not convinced by what Kiki's shaped by and what she's selling in this little walkthrough.
Yeah.
Disco, House of Mirrors.
Oh, House of Mirrors.
One of the lamest house names to go with disco.
So this is where Relisa has a record on her head, right?
It is. It
Yeah.
sure is.
Didi, who is it? What's her name?
Dita.
Okay. She's going to be the lady boss. And Rue's like, you've been a bit quiet.
That's the kiss of death on this show, isn't
A
it?
little bit quiet up until now.
Yeah.
A little bit quiet.
She gives an answer so boring that I didn't write it down.
I know. Oh, I've written here, Dita's voice is so flat.
It's that flat estuary Medway voice.
Yeah.
That Kent accent is flat as a pancake. It really is.
Rue points out this is the draggiest of the themes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I didn't write any more notes for this.
No, me neither. Should we go to the spa?
It's House of Zen. So House of Zen, they make me laugh because as they walk up, Lil goes, "You're right," and Rue goes, "You're right." Yeah. Back to them. So
all of them so, because it's
Yeah.
Chanel, Lil, and Marma. All of them so.
Marma.
And
I just really love Lil saying the word trousers to Rue. She's like, I want to make some trousers. It's like, she said about trousers.
And Rue asked Chanel something. Chanel says, we're too focused on what we're doing to notice what everyone else is up to. And Rue's like, oh, you're such a bitch.
She sure is.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a real edge to her, that Chanel, doesn't she?
Chanel also, though, she's smart because Rue's critiquing her. Not critiquing. She's like walking and talking through her sketch. And she's like, oh, maybe you should make that top bit asymmetric and do this. And Chanel's like, yep. Anything you say, I will do.
Yeah.
Clever.
Now, I will say that my notes at this point say lots of design gubbins.
Oh, yeah. This section I've called construction.
We get a real gubbinsy scene of just, these are the hardest notes to write and recap when there's just endless little vignettes of people going, oh, this fabric.
Yeah, I saw
oh.
that record in her head. Okay, I've written a few notes. I've written Dita is leading the disco team. She seems so boring. I've written Chanel looks good. I've written playing cards collage over a corset. Oof. Zahara, whatever her name is, she seems nice. Kiki doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Spa team doing a lot of great teamwork. That's kind of it.
And I just posited this to myself because I clearly wasn't paying attention. I bet Lil makes a really good cup of tea.
Oh.
I bet she makes a real strong, strong yet milky yet just perfect. Like, I bet it really gives you like a kick, but also tastes really comforting.
What do you think I've got an idea, but what do you think she serves with that cup of tea?
Oh, I think she gives you like a plate of biscuits, and I think
kind of
they're
biscuits?
chocolate digestives and maybe a bourbon.
I was thinking a penguin.
Oh,
Oh my god, how good's a penguin?
I don't like a penguin. It's
Really?
too,
Too dense.
yeah, it gives me that like chocolate like throat. I like a plain biscuit to go with the chocolate, like a chocolate covered digestive, you know? I need the plain with the chocolate, not just all the...
But I know famously you're not a fan of chocolate with caramel covered digestive.
No, because the integrity in the dip, the
Oh.
caramel adds a layer of oddness to that.
Oh, I don't drink tea, so I wouldn't know, but I just like them by themselves. Yeah.
Well, aren't you special?
Sure am. Oh, do you know what my favorite was though? This is very on brand for me. My gran used to have, she'd always have in the house, Cafe Noir, and they were like coffee flavored biscuits. Do you remember those?
No.
Oh, they were so good. Maybe that's why I like oh my god. Is this why I like coffee so much? From snuffling those as a kid. Anyway.
Probably. That and the need to fuel your kind of relentless machine of a personality.
Okay. Machine. Okay.
Lavoie sews up her armhole. I think that's my final note on the design gubbins.
I did really write 2 lines on the fact that the spa team are doing like working together so nicely.
Yes.
At this point, this is when I start to turn in the episode. I'm like, oh, that's actually really nice.
Yeah.
They're really like complimenting each other.
Collaborative.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. I'd like to think I'd be in that team. Well, as a bitchy Scottish person.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you might be. A bitchy Scottish person with delusions of grandeur as part of their personality.
No, I don't have delusions of grandeur.
Okay, so it's elimination day. It's the next day.
What do you want? Should I get out the prop?
Yeah, go for
Okay.
it. What is happening? We don't normally do props on a recap.
So if you've listened to our UWA Prime episode where we talk about ladies of the 2000s, you will hear me wax lyrical about going to a fake Trixie Mattel night. But they did give out real Trixie cosmetics.
Okay.
So I thought it would be fun. I've got the Bestie Balm in pomegranate lip balm. I thought maybe we could wear this for this section as the ladies are getting ready in the workroom.
I really like the way you say lip balm.
Lip balm.
You say lip balm.
Bestie Balm.
Like BAM.
That's what it's called. This looks fun, doesn't it?
It does.
But this is less of a balm and more of a like a
saying
it's like a
bam.
juicy tube. Oh my gosh.
It's such a series of Scottish words. Bam and juicy tube. Oh, that does smell like the past, doesn't it? I put too much on.
Me too.
Oh, yeah. Your lips are bright pink.
They look gorgeous.
Okay, so it's elimination day. Marmalade calls the workroom a shit tip, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, it's dead messy in there.
So they all gather around, and this is where poor Saki announces. They say, "Oh, you're on crutches," and I really wasn't expecting this to go the way it went.
Me neither.
She starts talking about. She's like, "Oh, I slipped in the shower in the hotel, and it's actually really bad, and I can't walk, and I can't
wear heels.
And she goes, "I gotta go. I gotta go home."
It's my decision. I'm gonna go. I was like, I genuinely gasped.
Yeah, me too. And then she literally gets up on her crutches and walks out.
Do you think in her exit deal, as it were, do you think they said, look, if we do another season,
Yeah,
You're coming back.
She'll get another chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't enjoy that.
Yeah, and then I kind of thought, what's her team going to do? And then I realized at that point, I'd got a little confused about what was happening in the teams. Then I realized, well, she just won't be in their team. It'll be a team of 2 with their own looks. But I think just because the other team had been collaborative, I was a bit like, oh my God, but how are they? It's not going to be fair that their team's only got 2. But then I realized they just wear their own looks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I kept thinking like it was going to throw everything off, and it
Yeah.
didn't. So, oh yeah, actually, I have a very similar note to your earlier one. Oof, these card dresses. And, I loved this bit. There was a moment where Kiki was standing there, like talking to her teammates, and I wrote the note. Oh, wow, she's made a really fun like top to her dress, and I realized it was just the top that she came into the workroom wearing. That her dress was on the mannequin looking terrible, and she was wearing this very elaborate, like flouncy top that looked great.
I like Lavoie says, so I think we're finished, but the outfits don't look good on the mannequins.
Yeah, and then poor Saki's team, after she hobbled out of the room, did leave 2 more lower wattage kind of energy bulbs in that team. Dieter and Relisa are not really the dynamic duo, are they?
Yeah.
And as much as I like and trust Release's kind of quiet, calm coolness, I feel like Dita's bringing her down.
I've written here, I see a stiff tie covered in playing cards.
Yeah, the playing cards are very... I took real umbrage with those playing cards like straight away.
Me too.
It's something about that motif I was already angry about.
Did I tell you though, I do, before he, like, I don't know, dies, I do want to go see David Copperfield in Vegas. Like a really tired magic show.
Yeah, I'll do that.
But in MGM.
Is that where he does it at MGM?
Yeah.
I feel like he's like a Harris.
Yeah.
He strikes me as
Harris.
as a real Harris act.
MGM Grand. Like, how shit must that be? But really good. Oh,
Love that lazy river at the MGM Grand.
I've not been in that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, bearing in mind I went in that 10 years ago, so it's probably...
It's lazier.
Probably a little grimier and lazier than before. Should we pop our makeup on and do some mirror chats?
Yeah, well, should we talk about Lavoie?
Yeah. Because it's interesting, this.
Yeah, so apparently Chara here is being really lovely to Lavoie. She's all like, you know, you've got a bit of a reputation. I was worried you're going to be really a lot, but you're just so lovely and wonderful. I really warmed to Lavoie here.
Me too.
She seems very nice. She talks about how in the early 2000s she went to London and she just was enamored with the scene. She talks about Madame Jojo's in 2004. Being there, it made her feel accepted. But she talks about being a bit of an older queen and how she sort of used to look down on drag because of the way society viewed it. It was always viewed as kind of cheap and a bit of a giggle. And even to this day, she still maybe slightly thinks that at times, but she's so excited to see younger queens who have grown up, because they talk about born in 2000 and 98, and how she's so excited that they don't have that view of it.
Right. It's an art form. It's a celebrated, respected art form to them, just without any question. Yeah.
Totally. And I'm really glad she's not bitter.
Yeah. She seems genuinely just like, oh, I'm excited to like feel it.
Yeah.
And she's self-aware enough to be able to point out that it's a self-hating thing that she does about, you know, based on what everyone has said about drag in the past.
Totally.
And I kind of like that she said, because they talk about her having that reputation for being tough. And I think Chara kind of says it to her. She's like, well, you kind of had to be as well. And she's like, yeah.
Oh,
so I think that kind of
that
helps. Like, I like that kind of explains it as well. And also, I can see why people would think she was a little hard when they meet her, because she's got kind of a hard edge to her, hasn't she?
Not hard edge as in like...
Not mean hard edge, but it's just a hardness.
She's quite a brash character, which she's probably had to... Well, yeah, as they say, she probably had to be.
Exactly.
Should we get out of this bloody workroom?
Honestly, I wrote to myself, thank God, under my heading of main stage. I was like, I can't be in that workroom surrounded by fabric anymore. I'm over it.
Although there was a final shot of someone glue gunning like the very bottom tip of a heel of a high heel. I was like, what?
I think that's when the little bit comes out of the end and you have to glue like a new...
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And I thought it'd be really funny if, after all of this, Rue came around the corner in an outfit made of like really obviously badly put together like household items. Like, imagine if she came out in like a shower curtain with like a rubber duck on her head and like, I don't know, like a sofa cushion like strapped on her chest. I just think that would have been funny, and I know she's never going to do it.
No.
I did love what she was wearing. It's like kind of she's wearing that kind of foily metallic short at the front. I believe they call it a mullet.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, but with like matching boots, and I thought she looked great.
Yeah,
she
it's
kind of looked like a Barbie doll.
Teal and silver floral metallic look, high laced up boots. Yeah, it's got a high front, low back.
And then I'm pretty sure that you and I have had a full conversation about this guest judge on the last season.
Totally.
She was on the last season, wasn't she? Kristen McManamany.
Yeah, she's wearing what I would describe as a Cadbury purple.
Yeah, and I've described her as a hoot and also terrifying.
Still, outside of this show, never heard of her.
No, but but every time I see her on this show, I believe everything I'm being told.
Yeah.
About her, like, talking about falling over in was it the Galliano show she
Something
talked
like
about
that.
at some point? It's like, okay.
Someone whose financials would love to see.
Get into those receipts.
Mm-hmm.
So who's up first?
It's
It
the
is
House of Cards.
House of Cards.
Zahira, she comes out in a cocktail party look. She's kind of wearing like a short, cute green dress. They call it a tube dress later. She's acting drunk. She's got great legs.
Yeah. I thought, much like They Say Later, I thought she pulled off kind of the best of a bad bunch of her group in terms of just like, she had a pretty boring outfit, but she made it fun, even though I don't particularly enjoy people pretending to be drunk. I like that she had that martini glass filled with glitter that she poured on her face. That was a good move. And actually, as far as the card accessories go, hers was like a sleeved cape thing that had cards on the inside. Hers was my favorite of that terrible bunch.
of the cards.
Of the House of Cards.
Kyron Thrax. I mean, these stupid names. She's dressed up as a lady boss. She's wearing flowy material, a tie covered in cards. She's got high hair. She's got a poker chip in her nipple. Yeah.
I simply wrote no thanks.
Did I tell you I found at the car wash, I was washing my car, a $25 poker chip for...
Ooh, for where?
It's for... Is it the Flamingo? Yeah. So when I go to Vegas, I'm
Great.
just going to drop into the Flamingo.
Dropping into the Flamingo. You can't drop into anywhere in Vegas.
No.
That's a
45-minute walk.
That's an excursion, yeah. So next up is Octavia. She is dressed like a kind of a down-on-her-luck trapeze artist with a judge's wig on.
I've written, that is a sad little stiff dress of cards.
Should we move on?
Yeah. House of Stella McCartney.
Whereas my notes say Stella McCratner.
What?
Because I was so
you're like, oh, God, no.
Stella McCratner.
So up first is Chara. She's wearing the cocktail party look. She's got black puffy sleeves. There are chains. I've written totally solid.
Yeah, she was a real solid C, wasn't she?
Yeah.
C plus.
This is The Voice. It's La Voix.
Yeah, she's doing kind of a, as she describes it, Bet Lynch kind of leopard print. She's got this fun red hair, which I liked. And I did like the detail of those two animal paws coming around to like hold on to her tits.
Yeah, I like that.
I thought she looked the best of her group.
Yeah, I've written kind of works.
Yeah.
And then I've written Kiki. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. And Rue calls her the Real Housewives of Sesame Street. And I will say, for most of this episode, Kiki is very funny about, like, she kind of does this whole like, well, I think I look great. Like she's trying, but I like that she's not being like a real downer about it. She's just like, oh yeah, I look like shit, but I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
I like her attitude.
She's got a bunch of materials and she's got a bowl in her head.
She sure does. I think she kind of looks like a deranged Carrie Bradshaw in this outfit.
Yeah, I guess
It's
so.
got some shades of like Carrie derangement.
An untailored Carrie
Yes,
Bradshaw.
exactly. Like if Carrie like went on a bender.
Yeah. And everything's just like it was coming apart. God, when isn't Just Like That coming back?
I've seen so many pictures of them filming it. I'm filled with dread and excitement.
It
as
must
always.
be. I wonder if it's January.
Yeah. Ooh, that'll be good for those January blues. Won't it? That's just what we need after the festive period.
Oh, a little viewing of And Just Like That, a new episode.
Da 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 do, da do, ba do, dee do.
A song that doesn't feature.
I can't believe they haven't like played it like incidentally in the show to try and be like clever, you know?
Where would it be?
I'm imagining like they'd be like at a posh party and like a violinist is playing like a
that's good.
like a classical version.
Or Carrie's walking down the street and there's a busker with a saxophone.
Yes.
Going, she's like, oh, shut up.
I don't like that song. Okay, House of Mirrors.
Dita.
Lady Boss. I like it. She's a snooze.
Oh, I've written, why is this so bad? I like the hat. Good from behind.
Yeah, I think she was totally solid and fine, and any negative thing I was feeling was a projection of my general feeling, you know?
About her personality.
Yes.
But her personally as a human being.
And how ratty I was at my point of taking notes
Oh,
as
okay,
well.
fine. God, this Trixie lip balm is really not going anywhere, is it?
No, it smells bad.
It's really sliding around my mouth like an ice rink.
Next up is release the slaves, release your dad, release the hounds.
Purple material draped and cinched. That's all I've written.
My theory on this is bad, but the color is really eye-catching.
Mm-hmm.
She is beautiful. So I was kind of bamboozled by her. I kind of just went, I ended up, like at one point I was looking at the dress, I was like, oh my God, that's really bad. And I thought, well, she looks nice. You know what I mean? It was it all came out to like a net zero.
Yeah, I can't remember what she looked like, so I think it wasn't great or it wasn't bad. Yeah. House of Zen.
This is a strong trio here.
Chanel.
Chanel. Do you remember the video of that parrot woman where they remixed her voice into the beginning of "Oh yeah 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 yeah, you've got to show me love," and they so she literally goes Chanel, yeah yeah yeah. I love that so much. She looks great. She's got very 1920s eyebrows in this. She kind of looks like a... I use this reference a lot, but do you remember when Elton John had that ship on his head? At his birthday, yeah. I think it was the shape of a wig. It was giving me Elton John ship vibes.
Yeah, wasn't that like his 60th birthday or something like that?
Something like that.
Rocket
Man. I'm still standing. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's blue, lots of details. It's good, lovely colors. That's Chanel. It's very good.
And next up is Lil. Lil is doing a kind of Marlene Dietrich 20s kind of pantsuit for the lady boss with like a corseted detail. She's got a fun, sparkly hat, cigarette holder, and also 1920s eyebrows.
Did you say that she's got House of Zen on her bag?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I like it. I thought she looked kind of like... I don't know why this is my reference point, considering I haven't seen Wicked, but she seemed like she was kind of an Oz resident of Oz. Like if that whole outfit had been in green, I would have imagined her being a lady boss in Oz.
I would have been like a bookkeeper in Oz.
Yes. There was something Aussie about it that I was just I was enjoying.
Something Aussie about it, something Aussian.
Yes, but yeah, not AUSSIEan, just OZian.
Are you gonna go see that movie?
Yeah, of course. I've never seen Wicked, but I'm fully prepared to go and watch the movie of it. Oh, we have to watch it. How funny is the trailer?
When does it come out?
Thanksgiving.
Oh, I'll go with you in Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
okay,
that'd be fun.
That'll be good.
Okay.
Did you see that Joker Folie Trois, whatever it's called, is doing really badly?
Good.
Finally, we've got
Creole Lady Marmalade. Where's all my soul sister? She looks fantastic.
She looks just like the drawing she presented to Rue as well.
This is the perfect kind of fusion of her aesthetic anyway with this challenge and with the rest of the group that did 1920s. It's her perfect kind of moment.
Do you see as she's perfect moment? Martin McCutcheon.
Martin McCutcheon, thank you.
Do you see as she's leaving the stage her arm sleeve kind of drops?
Oh, I didn't.
And then she catches it. It's very good.
I'm coming around a lot on Marmalade. I was you remember how I was initially a little like, oh, a vintage queen that sews, okay, but actually she's making me laugh as well as being really good at drag. So I eat my words, Marmalade.
Right, who's safe?
Safe is DRUK6, which I like saying like that. Charity, Dito Von No Thank You, and release the slaves, release the house, release your job.
But Rue calls her Release the Slavas.
Release the Slavas.
That's good.
And we get to the critiques, and I've combined the bit where they're on the stage and when the judges are there. And I just want to note that Kristen McNamara, that when the contestants are not on the stage, she's wearing her glasses.
It's lovely.
I think maybe they gave them like sheets to look at who is who, and I like that she's still wearing her specs for that.
She's really on the job.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to do this properly. I'm going to see.
Sahira.
She gets pretty neutral critiques. They say she just played it safe, and that's not good enough, basically. But she did a good presentation, but everything needs to be stepped up a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I did like they kind of said, Rue asked everyone, what's your favorite thing about your outfit? And her answer was, I like that my dress is really short because I like being a slut. Yeah. And I was like, that's smart. Make her laugh on final notes of laugh. You're kind of a bit safer.
Yeah, she's having fun. Octavia.
Done on Octavia. Now I will say again, much like Kiki, who's having a good laugh about her outfit, Octavia is very funny about how bad her outfit is. Yeah. She's cracking herself up.
Graham makes a good joke. House of Glue Paul's Drag Race. Yes. I like that.
And what does he say? He says, oh, I know an outfit's not great when I think that I could have made it, is what Graham says. And he makes a Judge John Deed reference. Do you remember Judge John Deed? That was like it's like an old like ITV like UK version of a procedural about a judge. No. I think it was literally like, remember those old kind of police shows.
Yeah.
It was something like that. It was called Judge John Deed, and that's what he said about her wig, because it looked like a judge's wig. It's pretty good. And yeah, I think in general, yeah, just she had a good sense of humor about this, actually.
Kiki, they're saying that every part of her outfit tells a different story. They use the phrase diversity of fabrics, which I really
That was
like.
Kristen McMahon.
No. And I love when Rue said, "Did anyone say to you, girl?"
Yeah. And then what does she say about her look when they're not on stage? She compares her to when E.T. dresses up as a lady. and Graham makes a really good joke where he says, I don't think this is so much... I think this is more of a case of an outer saboteur. Because, you know, Rue's always talking about your inner saboteur. He's like, I think it's an outer saboteur, aka someone's telling her she looks good when she doesn't. Which I thought was really funny. Then Chanel, they loved it. You know, can't believe it's a design challenge. And I did like at this point that while they're giving her the compliments, Chanel's just really smugly doing this. Like kind of modeling like smug. I think she's starting to veer into a little bit of kind of insufferable, and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
It's like a fun persona that she has.
starts off very humble here, then she boasts.
Yes, and then exactly, she then just announces that she basically made everything that whole team is wearing.
Shout out to the fact that she's from the Isle of Butte, and Rue says the Isle of Booty, which is kind of fun.
And next up is Lil.
This is great because they are very complimentary, and Graham says, the one thing is I think your hat could have been bigger.
Yeah.
And then they ask her, what's your favorite part of the outfit? And she says, the tiny hat.
Yeah, I wrecked myself. Lil's a right laugh, isn't she?
Yeah, I like how she says to Graham, it's not tiny, you might just be far away.
Right, it's like she's just really so naturally good, isn't she? And Creole Lady Marmalade, they say it's kind of simple but breathtaking. She gets really good. Rue says, I literally wouldn't change a thing. That's what she says.
Yeah, I've just written here, Chanel's going to be pissed. Yeah. And they ask her, what's your favorite part of this outfit? And Marmalade says, the looks on my competitor's face when I put it on.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Good answer. Right, Untucked was boring. Although they did make a nice point, which they said it was really nice that the first real maxi challenge was teams, because it means they got to know each other.
Yeah.
Especially This Is the Voice and Charity.
Yeah.
Kind of saying it was nice to really get to know each other. Chanel comes back and really starts doing, quite an Untucked performance. I mean, it's not a full, regular American season of Untucked where they get given a lot of time to be bitchy, but she does what she can with the time. Mm-hmm. But I do, like you said, Chanel calls Marmalade Mom at some point, which I really liked.
Well, that's actually in the preview for next week. She calls her Mom.
No, she did it in...
Did you hear as well?
She did it in Untucked,
Oh,
yeah.
love it. Is it Kiki who uses the phrase cohesivity?
Yes, yes.
Which is so hard to say compared to cohesion.
And I think
cohesivity.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
And I think in general, as I've said a million times, Kiki and Octavia are kind of being very funny about the fact that they know they're both in the bottom. They're both being very there's no sour grapes going on in this between the two of them. Mm-hmm. So we come back to the main stage.
We find out Zahira, is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah, Zahira.
Oh, fucking hell. She needs to leave so I can stop saying it. Zahira is safe.
Yeah.
Activia.
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 You don't even call it Activia, you call it Activia.
Activia and Kiki are bottom two queens of the week, but they're safe. They're not going home. So I just wrote here, boring.
Yeah, because of old Shower McGee, we're stuck with another tops.
But they say,
do they?
Rue
They
says,
say.
the top three queens are going to lip sync for the win, which is fun.
Yeah, and actually does work really well for this group of three people, because they've got that great inbuilt tension of Chanel thinking she should win because she did everything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a fun, I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get a little performance element of it. And I did think to myself, I wonder what Lil's going to do for this performance. I was like, we haven't seen her, go for anything yet. So I was like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, well, what's going to happen is they're going to do Kylie's tension.
Strange outfits for this lip sync, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
an odd bunch.
Oh God, wish us luck, everyone. We are trying to secure tickets to the Tension Tour next week.
Tension Tour.
Tension Tour. Looks like we're going to Phoenix to go see the Tension Tour if we can get those tickets.
It feels right to me.
It feels right. I think it's going to be easier to get tickets there and cheaper.
Yeah.
But if those fucking Arizonian gays,
Those little lizards.
those little lizards, get them before us. Anyway, so it's Kylie's Tension.
Yeah.
Marmalade is sort of doing a chicken move at one point, which I
Yeah.
quite liked.
Yeah, they definitely all took a different approach. I think Chanel's was kind of the most flop of all three of them. She kind of was just mouthing the words and not really doing anything.
I've written Chanel moves like a unit.
Yeah, she kind of, she wasn't great.
I thought Lil is fine, but a slightly sluggish mover.
Yeah, but she was doing like funny stuff. She was finding, because I actually think that song wasn't great for a lip sync because it's kind of, it actually weirdly doesn't really go off, does it? It's kind of just like, so I think she found the best moments in it, and I think Marmalade, Creole Lady Marmalade, she was trying the most, I think, but maybe Lil's kind of effortlessness was what made her win, I think.
Okay.
But I would have, yeah.
Who did you think was going to win?
I thought Marmalade was going to win.
Me too.
Yeah. Just because of the sum of all the parts of her look combined with the fact that even though she wasn't that good in the lip sync, she was kind of putting a lot into it.
I don't think any of them were that good.
No, it was three people walking around.
Yeah, a lot of walking around.
But I did like right at the end when Marmalade was on the floor and she had one foot up and her shoe was kind of caught in her dress and she was just waving it about like a flag. And I thought that's good. I like it.
Good move. So Lil won.
Yeah, and I laughed out loud when she won just because of the very obvious
Tension. Pun intended.
Yeah, and machinations from the producers. And yeah, it made me laugh out loud. And I thought, actually, and I thought that of the tension that could have been between Marmalade and Chanel in the next episode, which would have been very obvious, I'm really excited to see Chanel try and get a rise out of Lil because I don't think she's going to get it.
Yeah.
Because Lil is relaxed. You can't rattle her, can you? She's going to make a lovely cup of tea.
Yeah, but you see in the next week, it's between Chanel and Marm.
Yeah,
like any tension.
exactly.
So
because she's like, I can't get anything
as long
out
as
of her.
Marm didn't win.
Yeah.
So
She knew she can't get anything out of Lil. Anyway, so we go to the moon.
we do, but just before
the
we go there, Rue says basically, see you next week. Be careful in the shower.
Yeah, that was funny.
Sure, that was great.
Yeah.
What have we got next week?
Next week is a British rom-com challenge, and I didn't get too much of a understanding what was happening apart from laughing out loud at Lavoie dressed as Marty McCutcheon in Love Actually, which just instantly made me laugh out loud, and I kind of hope that that's as funny as it looked.
Who's the celeb? Is it Simon Le Bon?
Yes.
Okay.
He looked wild in that preview. I
Yeah.
didn't know who he was.
And then it
He's
looks
kind of like well-preserved and also terrifying.
Yeah,
looking.
agreed.
Like I was like, oh, he looks great, but also like way too shiny and new.
Yeah. Are they going to do Duran Duran song?
I hope so. I think Rio is a great
Oh, that's
song.
good.
Yasmin Labon. Remember that episode from Ab Fab?
Yeah.
I think it's really good that he took his wife's name. Simon Labon.
That's a very good joke.
Every joke is great on that show.
Well, not every joke. Anyway, next week we've also got some Chanel and Lil drama.
Yeah. Chanel.
So thank you for listening. I tell you what, that lip balm, I had to wipe it off. My lips were suffocating.
Yeah, Trixie, you make an odd lip balm.
It was like a poison where you could be suffocated with it. Anyway, thank you for listening. You get an episode of UWA Presents Drag Race UK Season 6 every week.
You just got one.
You just got an episode. No, you just got an episode of UWA Prime.
Yes,
Yeah.
you just got an episode of UWA Prime. Now, I just want you all to think of me. I know it's only a 40-minute something episode, but it really took me a long time.
No, the UWA Prime, but that's because you had all those clips.
Meaty. It was meaty.
Thanks for listening. Rate and review us, please. Give us a shout on Instagram. Email us, all the above. You're welcome.
Bye.
You are right up my street.
Oh, you can't make me choose.
I go by Toyota. Sponsors T4.
Fuck me, Lee Ryan's 13.
I remember we couldn't remember the word for table.